All right, we're looking today at Romans 8:12 to 14, and we'll translate this together here in class. Therefore, brothers, we are debtors, not to the flesh. Then to zain is going to be an infinitive. To live according to the if you want. Okay, araun adelphiu ophilete esmen ute sarki to kata sarka zain. For brothers, we are debtors not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. Brothers is a direct address vocative. Ophilete is the predicate noun. Esmen, progressive stative. We are not with reference to the flesh, so dative of reference. To live. To live is an infinitive. It exegetically explains what we are in debt in reference to what? We are debtors to live. What do we owe? Well, we owe living. We owe a life. So this is an exegetical infinitive explaining ophileta. The genitive article with the infinitive. Oh, shucks, who knows why it's genitive. Most often, the genitive article occurs with the infinitive for purpose. But since we have an explanatory relationship, I don't know. Questions about verse 12?
Just how it goes along with what follows, but we'll get to that for sure.
All right, picking up with verse 13. Igar kata sarka zeta melete apothneski. Either pneumatitas praxis to somatos thanatuta zeisesta. So if you are living according to the flesh, you are about to die, or you are dying. But if by the Spirit you are putting to death the deeds or practices of the body, you will live. So, here's first class condition. If is assumed to be true for the sake of argument, you're living according to the flesh. The result is you are about to die. And I take that not simply to be physical death, but physical and spiritual. Okay? Or at least the focus is here is primarily on the spiritual side of things. But if by the Spirit, so live, you are living would be progressive present, melita, progressive stative, apothneskin, constative aorist, complementary infinitive. And by the Spirit, dative of agency. Instead of you use agency when the dative indicates a person and instrument if it's a thing. Okay. You're putting to death the deeds of the body. The deeds of the body does deeds, so I take body here to be a subjective genitive. Deeds is an event word. To put death would be a progressive present. You shall live simple future. This would all, the second E would also be a first class condition. So, like I said earlier, we've got a flesh-spirit contrast, which Paul then brings in a body-spirit contrast. And now he links flesh and body directly, so that the deeds of the body is another way of saying the things of the flesh. Okay? It can't mean a generic actions done by the body. It has to mean more broadly, be more specific than that. Now let's just wrap up 14. For, Paul says, that's an interesting for. It's the question is, why does he say for here? But for as many as are being led by agency, the Spirit, God, source, apposition, these are sons of God. So agonda would be either progressive or iterative. Is the leadership something that's constantly going on, or is it a repeated, non-scheduled, but repeated? I would prefer, I think my experience is iterative, not progressive. Sons of God, predicate noun, of God, a relationship. Clearly, sons of anybody is a relationship, and as seen is a progressive stative. Okay, any questions about 12 to 14?
13,
Up with Naskin?
the infinitive. Bible works parses it as a present, and you listed there as errors.
Right, but I don't know what it means to be about to be dying. Dying is a process, and is the point that they're about to enter the process of dying? Maybe, but I would have to see evidence in Paul that he views dying as a process. Is that something that's a medical? Probably not. I mean, everybody knows that people can be dying. So I'm open to translating it progressively, but my hesitance primarily comes with the zeta of the preceding phrase, that if you are living, and I take living here to be a pattern of choices, you're about to enter the phase of dying? You are not yet in the phase of dying? No, I think you have entered the phase of dying. So a terminal view of dying makes better sense to me than a progressive view.
So you would be comfortable in saying that it's a constant even though the tense is in form?
Oh, I see what you're saying. The key has the parsing wrong. Yeah, thanks. No, instantaneous. And that primarily because of lexical constraints, textual factors. All right, good question. Any other questions? Okay, now verse 14. Osugar pneumati theou aronda eutu uiu theou isin. For as many as are being led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. So I take pneumati as a dative of agency because the Spirit is a person, not dative, instrumental dative. Spirit of God, God is the source or apposition. God and the Spirit are the same, together both. Agonda being led, I would take primarily as iterative. That's my experience of the Spirit's leadership. Though progressive, I suppose, is possible as well. These are sons of God. Sons is a predicate noun. Of God is a genitive of relationship, as is always the case with the word sons. and Essene is a progressive stative. Okay. This is one of the marvelous privileges of being a son of God, to be led by the Spirit of God. And exactly how the Spirit does that leadership, we see through the Gospels in the life of Christ, as well as in Acts in the lives of the apostles, and certainly as well through the Word of God.